Hello there, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I will be previewing and predicting Wimbledon 2025. Yes, that's right. The third Grand Slam of the year is upon us. Only 3 weeks after Roland Garros and that outrageous final between Yannick Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz. It feels just so strange that now we're transitioning straight away to Wimbledon, to the grass season. And it feels like the grass season has gone by so fast because we're still thinking about that epic comeback and final between the number one and the number two players in the world. But it's time to get into the Wimbledon predictions. The draw came out on Friday, and compared to Roland Garros, the first matches start on the Monday, and will go on for the next 2 weeks, with the final being on the final Sunday. So let me share my screen with you. So normally you should see this website called Tennis Draw Challenge, where I'm able to make my predictions. I suggest, if ever you want to make your own predictions, have a look at the draw. It's a free website, and you can join kind of leagues where you can compete as well, if ever you've got that competitive nature. So I've already gone ahead and just picked out the winners from the first 4 rounds, because I mean, as this is a Grand Slam, there's so many rounds, and I mean, I could talk about this draw and all the matches and potential matchups one by one, but it would take me more than 2 hours. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go quarter by quarter, quickly discuss the players that I think will cause some problems even as early as the first rounds, but ultimately discuss the later rounds up until the final. So starting off with Yannick Sinner, his draw. So he comes into this as the world number one. So his part of the draw goes up until Lorenzo Musetti, who's the 7th seed, and if obviously the seeds, the draw goes by the seeds, we could be getting a Musetti Sinner quarterfinal, an all Italian quarterfinal. However, let's get through this, because it's much more complicated by than just predicting by the seeds and the rankings. So I've got Sinner to get past the first 3 rounds at least. I don't see him losing early on at all. He should get past his first 2 matches relatively easily. His first maybe challenge, you could say, will be in the 3rd round against the Canadian Denis Shapovalov, who did reach the Wimbledon semi-final. I think that was in 2021. And then other than that, so I've got Sinner going to the 4th round, and I've got him potentially facing Tommy Paul, who last year reached the fourth round, if I'm not mistaken, of Wimbledon. Who also won Queens last year as well. So he is capable and of showing a very very high level on grass. I do have the main problem about this part of the draw is that, I mean, I've got Dimitrov here getting to at least the third round, but I mean, he's been just so injury prone in the last year or so, especially this year. Um, he's retired from matches in at least the past few Grand Slams, and for that reason, even predicting Tommy Paul to get to the fourth round is not an easy call because he himself has been injured. Um, he even pulled out of Queens this year, so I mean he missed out on the opportunity to defend his 500 points that he won there. But I still feel that, look, if he is able to compete, that obviously means that he feels that he's got a good enough chance to go on a run, and not much more to say about that. Um, I'll quickly look at the other section of the draw for Sinner before then. I will show my quarterfinal, then semi-final and final predictions towards the end. Then we've got the 10th seed Ben Shelton, who I can see getting to the fourth round here. This match here in the third round, Shelton up against Ugo Humbert was not an easy one to call because both left-handers. Humbert, grass is probably his favorite surface, along with indoor hard court. But I can just and I mean I know you must be thinking, well, Shelton, his grass season has not been the best. He lost in the first round in Mallorca last week. He lost in the first round of Queens. But we also know that Ben Shelton in Grand Slams is a different phenomenon, and I can really see him. Even though, as we'll see later, I don't see him going too far at Wimbledon, but with his serve and his powerful forehand, I can see him getting past Humbert and reaching the fourth round. I mean, just special mention here, an all French battle in the first round, Humbert Monfils. I can see Humbert getting past that, even though it's going to be an awkward matchup for him. A lot of pressure on him to get past his fellow compatriot, who I mean is obviously quite old now, but Monfils showed that at least this year in Grand Slams, that especially in the first rounds, he can still be firing on all cylinders. So that will be one to watch. So we've also got here Lorenzo Musetti, who, I mean, let's not forget, reached the Wimbledon semi-final last year. So he's got a lot of points to defend here, Musetti. So it's going to be interesting to see how he handles the pressure of defending those points. But ultimately, I do see him getting to the fourth round here. I can see this matchup between Nakashima and Musetti. I can see that being at least a 4-set match, if not 5, because Nakashima for me is one of the most underrated players on grass. I mean, let's not forget that year when he reached the round of 16 and played Nick Kyrgios, the year that Kyrgios got to the final, and it finished Kyrgios got the better of Nakashima, but it took him 5 sets. So that goes to show how solid Nakashima is on this surface. But again, as well, Musetti physically, I'm not sure either about how he'll be holding up. So that will be an interesting one to follow as well. So now moving on to Jack Draper, the number fourth seed and the number one Brit in his home tournament. So, I mean, this is a massive challenge for Draper, who, by the way, I mean, has been so consistent and a revelation this season, and has stepped up massively. But he's never gotten past the first few rounds at Wimbledon so far in his career. So this will be a big test for him. I mean, the pressure will be on him as well. The crowd will be backing him. Seeing, I mean, knowing Draper's attitude, that will for sure galvanize him and push him as much as possible. But in terms of good or bad luck you can get at draws, it's fair to say Jack Draper got the bad luck. He's really on the end of some real bad luck here, because if we have a look at this, so first up he's playing the Argentinian Baez. So I mean, Baez is quite a decent player, but on grass shouldn't be a problem. But this is where it gets complicated. Second round, Marin Cilic, former Wimbledon finalist. Now, I mean, it remains to be seen if he can still compete at the highest level, because he's been mainly playing on the Challenger Tour this year. But still, I mean, a tough test, no matter the stage of Cilic's career. And then this is where it just gets nuts. So it would be this would be a potential third round matchup between Draper and Bublik. So I mean, as you can see, I mean, there's no spoiling here. I do have Draper getting to the fourth round and beating Bublik. Now, for me, this is, I mean, first of all, I'd like to say I really, really want this match to happen. It would be one of the best matches of the tournament, without a doubt, if this match occurred. Let's not forget that only a few weeks ago, Alexander Bublik was defeating Jack Draper at Roland Garros in a four-set thriller. And that wasn't even Bublik's favorite surface. Now, we're moving on here to grass, and Bublik just won the Halle title in Germany, ATP 500, beating Yannick Sinner, the world number one, on the way. So, I mean, it's fair to say that Bublik is. I mean, I'd honestly go as far as saying that Bublik is one of the most dangerous players out there. For me, he's a top 10 threat on grass. But I'll just explain why I think I just edged Draper here. First of all, the crowd. As I mentioned, that will really help Draper out. He didn't necessarily have that at Roland Garros when he played Bublik. And then another reason is I've observed Bublik's first potential matchup. So he's playing Munar in the first round, who pushed Alcaraz, really gave him a big test at Queen's, nearly won the match. It was a over 3-hour match, so he can definitely play on grass. So I mean, I hope Bublik gets as far as at least the third round, but I cannot guarantee that he'll get past Munar, then play Fabio Marusan, who is not the easiest opponent either. However, I mean, it could be a completely different story. Bublik somehow gets to the third round, then faces Draper, beats Draper. I mean, who knows how far Bublik can get. It's all about confidence, and it's all about, well, at the end of the day, which Alexander Bublik is gonna turn up. That's the question. Then moving on, we've got a. I mean, this was slightly hard to predict because uh, I mean, you can't exactly say that Kaboli and Echeverry here are grass court specialists. And we've got also here the 15th seed, Jakub Mensik, one of the most exciting players and future prospects at only 19. And he's got the weapons to perform on grass with a massive serve. And for that reason, I can see him getting to the fourth round. Again, it's all about confidence with him, because I still like to see him, well, especially on grass. That was the issue at Queens. He honestly he lost against Batista Agut, and he should have got through that match. And it's just again, especially at Grand Slams, he seems to be vulnerable mentally. I mean, he puts himself in winning positions, but then he's not able to get across the finish line. So for me, as soon as Mensik gets past Giron, assuming he does, I honestly think he can then just gain more and more confidence, momentum, and really be a problem. Then moving on, we've got so the 11th seed here, Alex de Minaur. This part of the draw with also the Czech Thomas Mahach. I've got de Minaur getting to the third round. I mean, to at least the fourth round here. Despite him, again, not really performing very well in the last few weeks. But let's not forget, he does like the grass. I mean, last year he very sadly had to withdraw from his quarterfinal match against Djokovic, which brings me to this section of the draw with de Minaur, Mahach. So I've got de Minaur getting to the fourth round. I've got a little surprise here. I can see Helis beating Mahach, who always seems to have physical issues. And Helis just beat him recently at Roland Garros. So I could see that maybe happening again. But then we move on here. So we've got here Novak Djokovic. Here he is. Here he is appearing in the middle part of the draw. I can see Djokovic getting to the fourth round. He's not got the easiest of draws. So I mean, look, he should be getting past the first two rounds without really dropping a set. Let's say maybe to Dan Evans being a Brit, maybe, but in my eyes, he's going to be locked in already from the start. The first potential test might be against the American Mickelson, who's shown promise on grass, but that shouldn't really be a problem for Novak. So I can see him getting to the fourth round, where he'll play de Minaur, which honestly, for de Minaur, I think he deserved that. And it would be a nice story for him to finally be able to match up against Djokovic. Now then, moving into the fifth seed, Taylor Fritz's quarter. I just mentioned earlier on about Draper not having the best draw. Fritz's draw isn't the best either, because I mean, to be playing Mpechi Pericard, the big serving Frenchman in the first round, is really not an ideal matchup. But I can still see Taylor getting through. By the way, Fritz, who just won the Eastbourne ATP 250 tournament again for the fourth time. And then a second round against the Canadian Diallo, who himself has won an ATP 250 grass tournament. Then the Spaniard Davidovich Fokina, who Fritz beat recently in Eastbourne. But I can still see Fritz getting to the fourth round. Then moving on here to Daniil Medvedev's section of the draw. Medvedev, who has reached the Wimbledon semi-final in the last 2 years, honestly, really seems to perform well at Wimbledon, and for that reason, I've got him reaching the fourth round. This match against the Australian Popyrin could be a real battle. Again, Popyrin, who tested Djokovic last year at Wimbledon, and has got the weapons on grass as well. So that's going to be if this match happens, this is going to be a match to follow. But I ultimately see Medvedev getting through. Then we've got a bit of a more open part of the draw here with the Argentinian Cerundolo. I mean, am I really confident in his capabilities on grass? Not really. But seeing, so just by the way, to rectify, some of the names you're seeing here aren't the actual names, especially for the qualifiers. For example, here Joshua Sapwell, because the names aren't always well shown. So just to mention, if ever you wanted to actually, obviously I don't have the time to go through all of the names. But yeah, just to mention, actually, Hurkacz, Hubie Hurkacz, has actually pulled out just yesterday from Wimbledon. So for that reason, that's why I don't have him winning his first match, obviously, because he's not competing. In this section of the draw, I've got Kachanov reaching the fourth round. Honestly, out of all of these players here, I think Kachanov stands out as a real more consistent, reliable player, especially on grass, in my view. Then moving on, we've got Matteo Berrettini. Very, very interesting player, because obviously reached the Wimbledon final in 2021, but he's been hampered by injury and year after year, and he always seems to just pop up and be available for Wimbledon, which obviously is his best chance to go far in a major. I can see him reaching the third round, but as he's just coming off injury, I can't really trust him. I mean, I could be wrong. He could be fit as a fiddle, and he could just go on a long run. But for that reason, I do have. So we have the third seed here, Alexander Zverev, who is not grass is not his best surface. He's never actually gone past the fourth round in Wimbledon, but I do have him reaching the fourth round here, because, as I mentioned, of Berrettini's injury concerns. But it still should be a tight match. Then moving on to the last section of the draw, with the out of the top 8 seeds, the 8th seed here, we've got Holger Rune. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because honestly, Rune as an 8th seed at Wimbledon is really, I mean, whoever falls in Rune's section at Wimbledon really should be really, really excited, because from what I've seen from Rune, not even just on grass, but just he seems to turn up at one tournament, then the next he's just out, knocked out first round, and it's just so inconsistent. And well, for that reason, I'm going to be honest, and you can see here what I predicted. I don't have Rune getting past the second round. I mean, already his first round against Jarry, that could be a difficult one. But against the up and coming American teen, who earlier this year shocked Medvedev at the Australian Open, I've got Teen getting the better of Rune, and this is really an open part of the draw. Really, probably the most open part of the draw, because We've got the Brazilian sensation Fonseca. Not a lot of experience on grass at all. Then we've got Greek Sport, who just won the ATP 250 in Mallorca, and for that reason, I've got him built. I think he's going to build on his momentum. He hasn't dropped a set, hadn't dropped a set in Mallorca, and so I can see him rolling through to the fourth round. Then moving on, we've got the Queen's finalists of this year, Yuri Lehechka. In this section of the draw, we've got Francis Tiafoe, the 12th seed. Ultimately, I've got Lehechka building on his own momentum as well after reaching the Queen's final and reaching the fourth round here at Wimbledon. This was a tough match to predict, Lehechka Tiafoe, because Tiafoe, it's just that he's not necessarily always performed well at Wimbledon. I know he tested Alcaraz in a 5-set thriller last year, but he doesn't seem to really go very far at Wimbledon. Then, so moving on, we've got the 14th seed Andrei Rublev. In this part of the draw, we've got the Greek Stefanos Tsitsipas. So honestly, two players who have flattered to deceive this year so far, and for that reason, I'm calling it. I mean, I just mentioned Rune. In my view, going out early, I can really see the same for Tsitsipas, and I know you must be thinking, why would you think Manarino would beat Tsitsipas? Well, I actually saw Manarino at Wimbledon qualifying this week, and he's really an awkward player to play on grass. He's got a unique play style, and he's really the last player you'd want to face in an opening round at Wimbledon. So I can see Manarino getting the shock here. However, I think so that will open this part of the draw up for Rublev. So I can see Rublev reaching the fourth round. And then finally, in this last section, we've got the 25th seed Auger-Aliassime and obviously the two-time Wimbledon champion Carlos Alcaraz. I mean, it's not going to surprise you that I've got Alcaraz reaching the fourth round. I mean, honestly, a joke of a first round, of a second round. These two matches should be done easily in straight sets. Could be a first challenge against Auger-Aliassime, but I cannot see the Canadian winning 3 sets against Alcaraz on grass. So, moving on then to my quarterfinal predictions. So in this upper section of the draw, as I mentioned, Jannik Sinner up against Tommy Paul. I've got Jannik Sinner, in my view, will reach the Wimbledon quarterfinal. The question is, who will he face? Because we've got a real testing battle for Musetti. As I mentioned earlier, he's got these points to defend. Can he at least reach the quarterfinal? And in my view, he won't. I think honestly, Shelton is capable on grass, and I think that this will be his breakthrough run at Wimbledon, and I think he'll get to the quarterfinal. So then moving on. So then in this part of the draw, in Draper's part of the draw, I've got him facing Mensik. I mean, I mentioned Draper having an immensely tough draw. However, if he gets to this stage, I can see him. Well, you know what? Oh wait, this is a tough one. No, you know what? I'm going to go for Jack Draper to reach the Wimbledon quarterfinal, his first Wimbledon quarterfinal. I'm going for it. I mean, my reason is, if he can get past Bublik, without wasting too much energy, conserving himself physically. I think he could get the better of Mensik. So then will he face either Domino or Djokovic? I'm going to go for Djokovic. Shouldn't. I mean, Domino could maybe take a set off him or two, but I don't see Domino winning the match. Then moving on, we've got a real fire fourth round match between Fritz, who reached the quarterfinal last year, and Medvedev, semi-finalist last year, as I mentioned. I mean, I'm going to go with Daniil to reach the quarterfinal. My thinking is that Fritz went and performed amazingly at Eastbourne and won the title, but it could work in his favor in terms of momentum, winning the first few rounds. But I think once he comes up against Medvedev, that's where physically he might start be really tested. And I think Medvedev will be the fresher one. Also based on his draw, I think Medvedev, as I mentioned, shouldn't have too much difficulty at least reaching this Popper and then Fritz match. So in my view, Medvedev gets the better of Fritz. Then we've got here Kachanov against Zverev. I'm going to be honest here. I'm going to go with Sasha Zverev, which would be a huge milestone for him, reaching his first Wimbledon quarterfinal. I think it would finally be deserved. Then here we've got quite an open fourth round here, because as I mentioned, this part of the draw is quite open. Griekspoor against Lehechka. If Lehechka gets this far, I can see him beating Griekspoor. Same argument as for Fritz. I just think the accumulation of matches. Griekspoor has just come back from injury himself, so it's already remarkable enough. He won a title straight away. And then finally, in this last section, we've got Andrei Rublev against Alcaraz. For me, Carlitos. I mean, that is honestly, Alcaraz has got the best draw. That without a doubt. I mean, to be able to reach a quarterfinal and only the only test really having to be Auger-Aliassime, then potentially Rublev. I mean, even if Tsitsipas got this far, a walk in the park for Alcaraz. So that brings me to my quarterfinal predictions. So as I explained, I've got Sinner here and Shelton in the first quarterfinal. For me, Yannick gets the better of Shelton. It would already be an amazing run for Shelton to get this far. I mean, generally it's not really expected that he can get this far, because Musetti being in his part of the draw. I mean, look, Musetti could himself get to the quarterfinal. It's just as he's coming, as some players are coming back from injury, you can't necessarily just straight away assume they're gonna just come back and hit the ground running. So that's why. But I think Sinner will reach the semi-final. Then here we'd have second quarterfinal between Draper, the home favorite, against Novak Djokovic. Wow. Well, this would be an amazing story for Draper if he can reach a quarterfinal as a home player. But I think Novak, he's going to be motivated. I mean, let's not forget, this is probably Djokovic's last chance to win a Grand Slam, because seeing Alcaraz and Sinner's level, with this being a tournament that Djokovic historically has performed amazingly at. I mean, let's not forget, he's reached even though he's not won the last two tournaments, he reached a final in the last two tournaments. So I expect him to get to the semi-final. Then in the third quarterfinal, we'd have Daniil Medvedev up against Zverev. Another matchup between these two. It's crazy at this stage because they recently played in Halle. Medvedev winning that match. And you know what? I've got Medvedev winning this one again. I think again mentally. I mean, mentally, this matchup is a really hard one for Zverev, and for him to get to his first Wimbledon quarterfinal, that would already be something. He's not always been the best on grass at Wimbledon, but for that reason, I could see Medvedev reaching the semi-final again, which would be remarkable. Then here in this fourth quarterfinal, I've got Lehechka against Alcaraz, a rematch of the Queen's final of this year. I mean, this would be a test for Alcaraz. I mean, if Lehechka gets this far and is firing on all cylinders with his compact, solid game style, he could push Alcaraz to 4, maybe 5 sets. I mean, let's not forget the Queen's final was tight. I mean, it was 3 sets, but you can't go against Alcaraz at Wimbledon in Grand Slams in general, but especially at Wimbledon. So that means I'd have in the first semi-final Jannik Sinner against Novak Djokovic. I mean, this is just. I mean, as I mentioned when I talked about Djokovic in the quarterfinal, this would be this would be Djokovic's last chance. The question is, can he get the better of the number 1 player in the world? And you know what? I am actually going to answer that with a solid yes. I can actually see Novak Djokovic reaching the final again this year. As I mentioned, because of the motivating factor. When Novak is motivated, it's been hard for him to motivate himself in the last year or two. But we saw last year at the Olympic Games. I mean, he hadn't won a major title all year, and then boom, straight away, he was locked in the zone. I mean, and to beat Alcaraz as he did in that final was just epic. So I can see him. I mean, at the French Open already, he played Sinner so in the semi-final, and yes, Sinner won in 3 sets, but it was still a high level match, and Djokovic brought his A game, and I was actually impressed that Djokovic managed to get to the semi-final. I mean, let's not forget this year, Australian Open semi-final from Djokovic, and French Open semi-final. So I mean, there's no reason he shouldn't get to at least the semi-final at Wimbledon. But I can see him going further. I can see him reaching the final. And then that would mean a rematch of last year, because last year and even maybe the year before, Alcaraz and Medvedev have definitely faced at Wimbledon. But I can see Alcaraz beating Medvedev here. I think he's just, as I said, you cannot go against Alcaraz against any other player, maybe apart from Sinner and Djokovic, and that sets up very nicely my final prediction: Carlos Alcaraz against Novak Djokovic. A third time in a row, if this was the case, if this was to be the case as a final at Wimbledon. And in my view, Carlos Alcaraz is going to make history. He's going to become the first male player to win. Oh no, sorry about that. I was thinking of another stat. No, he's not going to be the first male player, because Djokovic did it literally a few years ago. But he's going to be only the second male player to win Roland Garros and Wimbledon 2 years in a row, both Grand Slams in a row, after Bjorn Borg. So I can see Alcaraz beating Djokovic. However, to finish, I think that the final, if this was to be the final, compared to last year where Alcaraz beat Djokovic in straight sets, I think Djokovic, as I mentioned, I mean, already if he gets past Sinner in the semi-final, I mean, for that it's already extraordinary. I can see Alcaraz. If you want me to be honest and more precise, Alcaraz will beat Djokovic in 4 sets. 4 sets. I mean, we all hope. We all hope for it to be 5 sets, like the 2023 final. But there you go. That's my view. But that rounds up the Wimbledon predictions in 2025. So well, let me know your own predictions, and can't wait to follow this amazing tournament. Being English myself, this is my favorite Grand Slam. So enjoy, everyone, enjoy. Thanks. Don't forget to like and subscribe.